The massive Confederation vessel Star Sovereign dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Sol system, its crystalline hull refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. Supreme Commander Vextal stood on the bridge, his translucent appendages rippling with anticipation as he studied the holographic display of humanity's home system. "Another primitive species to add to our collection," he remarked to his second-in-command, Dr. Zura, a being of pure energy contained within an advanced environmental suit. Their radio emissions suggest they've barely mastered basic spaceflight. The preliminary scans are unusual. Supreme Commander, Dr. Zura's voice crackled with static. They appear to be using outdated technology, yet their energy signatures don't align with their visible infrastructure. Vextal dismissed the concern with a casual wave of his appendage. The Galactic Confederation had absorbed thousands of species into their empire over the millennia. Humans would be no different. Their standard procedure was simple: demonstrate overwhelming technological superiority, demand submission, and integrate the species into their hierarchy. "Begin the standard contact protocol," he ordered. The Star Sovereign's communication array powered up, broadcasting their message across all frequencies in every known language. "People of Earth, this is Supreme Commander Vextal of the Galactic Confederation. Your species has been selected for integration. Surrender your autonomy and accept our guidance, or face immediate consequences. You have one planetary rotation to comply." Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility unknown to even most world governments, Director Sarah Chen watched the transmission with quiet amusement. The massive command center, carved from solid rock and lined with quantum computers, hummed with activity as personnel monitored the situation. "Right on schedule," she murmured, taking a sip from her coffee mug. "Operation Ghostlight is a go." Across Earth, carefully orchestrated chaos erupted. News channels broadcast scenes of panic. Stock markets crashed. Military units scrambled in apparent disarray. To any watching eyes, humanity appeared to be falling apart at the seams. On the Star Sovereign, Vextal observed the unfolding chaos with satisfaction. "Predictable," he said. "Prepare the integration fleet." "Supreme Commander," Dr. Zura interrupted, her energy form fluctuating with concern. "I'm detecting unusual quantum fluctuations throughout the system." "They appear to be." A new transmission cut through their communications, overriding their systems with ease. The holographic display shifted, showing a simple image, a chessboard, with pieces arranged in an impossible position. Director Chen's voice filled their bridge, calm and assured. "Supreme Commander Vextal, humanity acknowledges your message. However, we believe there's been a misunderstanding about our relative positions in this conversation." The Star Sovereign sensors suddenly came alive, detecting massive energy signatures throughout the solar system. Hidden installations on Mars, Venus, and countless asteroids shed their quantum camouflage. Massive shipyards appeared in Jupiter's orbit. Defense platforms materialized around Earth. "For the past century," Chen continued, "we've been aware of the Confederation's expansion. We've studied your technology, your tactics, your civilization. We chose to remain hidden, to appear primitive, because we wanted to understand what kind of neighbors we were dealing with." Vextal's crystalline form vibrated with shock as more revelations appeared on his screens. Human quantum computers had already penetrated their most secure networks. Their stealth technology had mapped every Confederation installation within 1,000 light years. "This is impossible," he whispered. "Your species was supposed to be primitive." "A carefully crafted illusion," Chen replied. "We've developed our technology along different paths than the Confederation. While you focused on brute force and visible displays of power, we chose subtlety and efficiency. Your entire fleet is currently surrounded by our quantum defense grid. We could have destroyed your ship the moment it entered our system." Dr. Zura's energy form pulsed rapidly. The chessboard, she realized. It's not just an image. It's a message. We're not looking at a primitive species awaiting integration. We're looking at a civilization that's been playing a long game. Vextal finished, his appendages trembling slightly. Precisely, Chen confirmed. So, Supreme Commander, we'd like to propose an alternative to your integration protocol. Instead of conflict or submission, we offer partnership, equal standing, a chance to learn from each other and grow together. The bridge of the Star Sovereign fell silent as Vextal contemplated the situation. Everything he thought he knew about humanity had been wrong. Their apparent primitive state had been a masterful deception, hiding a civilization that might well be more advanced than the Confederation in many ways. And if we decline this partnership, he asked carefully. Then we simply remain as we are, Chen replied. But know that any aggressive action against Earth or our interests will be met with immediate and decisive response. We've prepared for that scenario for longer than you can imagine. As if to emphasize her point, quantum sensors detected thousands of small objects appearing around the Star Sovereign. Automated defense platforms that had been there all along, invisible until this moment. The choice, Supreme Commander, is yours. But choose carefully. This isn't just first contact. It's a chance to evolve beyond the old patterns of conqueror and conquered. What's your answer? Supreme Commander Vextal's decision reverberated through the Confederation's vast empire. Within hours of accepting Earth's offer of partnership, the Star Sovereign received a priority transmission from the Confederation Council. Their crystalline forms flickered with agitation across the quantum hologram. You've exceeded your authority, Vextal, High Counselor Mirax announced, her crystalline structure pulsing with angry red light. This species was marked for integration, not negotiation. Before Vextal could respond, the holographic display suddenly split, and Director Chen's image appeared alongside the council members. The Confederation leaders recoiled in shock. No species had ever managed to penetrate their secure communications channels. Perhaps, Chen suggested calmly, this would be a good time for a demonstration of why partnership is the only viable path forward. At her signal, quantum ripples spread through space. Hidden sensors within the council chamber itself activated, revealing their presence with soft blue pulses. Similar revelations occurred simultaneously in every major Confederation installation across their territory. For decades, we've been seeding your worlds with our technology, Chen explained. Not as weapons, but as witnesses. We wanted to understand who you were as a civilization before making our presence known. The council chamber erupted in chaos as screens displayed the true extent of human infiltration. Quantum processors had been integrated into their most secure systems. Microscopic observers had mapped every military installation. Human technology had become an invisible but integral part of their infrastructure. Dr. Zura, still aboard the Star Sovereign, watched the unfolding scene with fascination. Your species developed along a completely different technological path than ours, she observed. While we pursued visible demonstrations of power, we focused on integration and understanding. Chen finished. Our greatest achievements aren't our weapons or our ships. It's our ability to observe, learn, and adapt. Deep beneath Earth's surface, vast chambers housed humanity's true technological marvels. Quantum computers that could process information across multiple dimensions. Manufacturing facilities that could produce machines atom by atom. Energy systems that drew power from the quantum fabric of space itself. We call it the Silent Arsenal. Chen continued, gesturing to holographic displays of Earth's hidden capabilities. Not because these technologies are weapons, but because they represent power through understanding rather than force. The High Council watched in stunned silence as humans revealed more of their achievements. Artificial intelligence that could predict quantum probability shifts. Communication systems that operated outside normal space-time. Ships that could travel through the dimension of thought itself. Impossible, one council member whispered. These technologies violate fundamental laws of physics. They violate your understanding of those laws. Chen corrected gently. We discovered long ago that the universe operates on principles far stranger and more wonderful than simple cause and effect. To demonstrate, she gestured, and a small device appeared in the center of the council chamber. It hovered silently, its surface rippling like liquid metal. This is a quantum observer, she explained. It exists simultaneously in every room where decisions affecting humanity's future might be made. It's been there all along. You simply couldn't perceive it until we allowed you to. Vextel's crystalline form vibrated with a mixture of fear and awe. You could have used this technology to conquer us at any time, he realized. We could have, Chen acknowledged. But that's not who we are. Humanity learned long ago that true power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to understand. We don't want to rule the Confederation. We want to help it evolve. The quantum observer pulsed softly, projecting images of possible futures. In one, the Confederation continued its path of conquest and stagnation. In another, humans and Confederation species worked together, pushing the boundaries of science and exploration. Your civilization has achieved remarkable things, Chen continued. Your mastery of crystalline technology, your understanding of energy beings like Dr. Zira. These are achievements we admire, but you've become trapped in patterns of thinking that limit your potential. High Counselor Mirax's anger had faded, replaced by cautious curiosity. And you believe partnership with humanity would help us break these patterns? We believe partnership would benefit us all, Chen replied. Your experience combined with our perspective, your visible strength with our subtle understanding. Together, we could explore aspects of reality neither of us could reach alone. The silent arsenal wasn't just humanity's defense system. It was an invitation. Each piece of technology they revealed demonstrated not just what humans could do, but what they chose not to do. Every hidden installation, every quantum observer, every microscopic sensor showed restraint rather than aggression. The choice remains yours, Chen concluded. But know that humanity will not be conquered, controlled, or limited. We offer friendship freely, but we will defend our freedom absolutely. The High Council chambers fell silent as the implications of this revelation sank in. The Confederation stood at a crossroads, facing a species that had completely rewritten the rules of technological advancement. Their choice now would determine not just humanity's future, but their own. The following days brought unprecedented change to both civilizations. While the Confederation's High Council debated humanity's offer, Earth continued its careful revelation of capabilities that shattered conventional understanding of physics and technology. But not everyone welcomed this shifting of power. Admiral Krevax, commander of the Confederation's 7th Fleet, watched the diplomatic proceedings with growing anger from his flagship, the Eternal Dawn. His carapace plates clicked in agitation as he reviewed reports of human technology spreading throughout Confederation space. These humans make fools of us, he growled to his assembled officers. While we debate, they continue to infiltrate our systems with their quantum observers. This cannot stand. In her underground command center, Director Chen monitored these discussions through the quantum network. She turned to her chief strategist, Dr. Marcus Wong, whose holographic avatar flickered with concern. They're planning something, Wong's AI-enhanced consciousness reported. The 7th Fleet is repositioning its forces under the guise of routine maneuvers. Chen nodded, unsurprised. Humanity's greatest strength has always been preparing for multiple possibilities. Initiate protocol checkmate. Across the solar system and beyond, humanity's hidden infrastructure hummed with activity. Quantum processors adjusted their calculations, preparing for the inevitable clash of philosophies. But this time, the response would demonstrate not just human technology, but human wisdom. On the Eternal Dawn, Admiral Krevax finalized his plans. The humans think they can reshape the galaxy with their subtle manipulations, he declared to his loyal officers. We will show them the true meaning of power. Prepare for attack formation. The massive Confederation warships began their advance, their crystalline hulls glowing with charged weapons. But as they approached the solar system's edge, something unexpected happened. Their quantum drives started receiving conflicting signals. Admiral, his navigation officer called out, mandibles twitching in confusion. Our position readings. They're impossible. According to our instruments, We're simultaneously at the edge of Sol system and back in Confederation space. Kravax's compound eyes widened as his fleet's formation began to dissolve. Each ship reported different locations, different sensor readings, different realities. The carefully planned attack dissolved into chaos. Director Chen's voice echoed through their command channels, calm and almost sympathetic. "Admiral Kravax, did you really think we wouldn't anticipate this? Your ships aren't malfunctioning. They're experiencing quantum locational uncertainty, a small demonstration of how humanity has learned to manipulate reality itself." The Admiral's fleet hung suspended between spaces, caught in a web of quantum probability. Each attempt to move or fire weapons only increased the uncertainty of their position. But Chen wasn't finished. "Look at your auxiliary screens," she instructed. As they did, a new image appeared. A vast network of human outposts and installations, previously invisible, spanning the entire region. While the Confederation built its empire through visible force, we built ours through understanding. Every star system you thought was under your exclusive control has been part of our network for decades. Dr. Zyra, who had been observing from the Star Sovereign, finally understood the true scope of human advancement. "You haven't just been watching us," she realized. "You've been guiding the development of the entire galaxy." "Guiding, but not controlling," Chen corrected. "We believe every species must find its own path. We simply maintain the garden, you might say." The quantum distortions around Kravax's fleet began to stabilize, but now they could see their true position. Surrounded by arrays of human quantum platforms that had been there all along. The platforms weren't weapons. They were nodes in a vast network of reality-shaping technology. "Your attack was never going to succeed," Chen explained. "Not because we would destroy your ships, but because we've evolved beyond the need for such destruction. The universe is vast and strange. Admiral, there are better ways to resolve our differences." As if to emphasize her point, the quantum platforms began to pulse with soft light, revealing glimpses of other dimensions, other possibilities. The crew of the Eternal Dawn watched in awe as reality itself seemed to ripple around them. "This is your final warning," Chen continued. "Not a threat, but an invitation. Join us in understanding the true nature of existence, or remain trapped in your limited perspective. The choice, as always, is yours." Admiral Kravax stood rigid on his bridge, his carefully planned attack transformed into a profound lesson in humility. The humans hadn't just outmaneuvered his fleet, they'd demonstrated a level of cosmic understanding that made traditional warfare obsolete. In the High Council chambers, the implications of this demonstration resonated deeply. Humanity hadn't just developed advanced technology, they'd fundamentally altered their relationship with reality itself. The question was no longer whether to accept their offer of partnership, but whether the Confederation was ready for the transformation such a partnership would bring. The aftermath of Admiral Kravax's failed attack sent shockwaves through the Confederation. While the High Council grappled with the implications of humanity's capabilities, a more profound transformation was already underway. Throughout Confederation space, species that had long been subjugated began asking dangerous questions. On the crystalline world of Nexus Prime, home to the Confederation's central database, an unprecedented event was unfolding. Dr. Zyra stood before the assembled council, her energy form pulsing with intensity as she presented her findings. "The humans didn't just develop different technology," she explained, projecting data streams that swirled through the chamber. "They discovered a fundamental truth about consciousness itself. Their quantum observers aren't just watching us. They're helping us evolve." High Counselor Mirax leaned forward, her crystalline form refracting light in patterns of concern. "Explain." Before Dr. Zyra could continue, the quantum fabric of reality rippled. Director Chen appeared, but this time her presence was different. Not a mere hologram, but a quantum projection that existed simultaneously in multiple dimensions. "Perhaps it's time for a more direct demonstration," Chen suggested. With a gesture, she transformed the council chamber into a vast representation of the galaxy. But this wasn't just a map. It was a living visualization of consciousness itself, showing how different species' thoughts and perceptions interacted across space and time. Humanity discovered long ago that consciousness isn't limited to biological or even artificial forms, Chen explained. It's a fundamental force of the universe, like gravity or electromagnetism. We learn to tap into this force, to understand it, to work with it rather than trying to control it. The display zoomed in on Earth, revealing the true nature of humanity's quantum network. It wasn't just a communication system or a defense grid. It was a vast, living web of conscious energy that spanned the galaxy. Your civilization built its empire through force, Chen continued. Collecting species and technologies, like trophies, we chose a different path. Instead of conquering, we connected. Instead of controlling, we cultivated. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the chamber. Admiral Kravax had made his final move, activating sleeper agents throughout the Confederation. A third of the fleet had gone rogue, determined to maintain the old order through force. But this time, humanity's response wasn't subtle. The quantum web pulsed with power, and reality itself seemed to hold its breath. We gave you every chance for peaceful transition, Chen said, her voice carrying notes of both sadness and determination. Now witness what happens when humanity is forced to demonstrate its full capabilities. Across Confederation space, the rogue ships found themselves caught in quantum probability fields. But these weren't like the defensive measures used before. These fields began to alter the very nature of the ships and their crews, not destroying them but transforming them. We're not eliminating your forces, Chen explained as the transformation unfolded. We're elevating them. Every particle of your ships, every consciousness of your crews is being offered a choice: evolve or remain unchanged. The Council watched in awe as ship after ship underwent metamorphosis. Those who chose evolution transformed into beings of pure quantum energy. Their consciousness expanded beyond physical limitations. Those who refused remained unchanged, but found themselves unable to affect the new reality forming around them. Dr. Zyra's energy form vibrated with understanding. This is what you meant by maintaining the garden, she realized. You're not just watching species develop, you're creating conditions for consciousness itself to evolve. Precisely, Chen confirmed. Earth isn't just a planet, and humanity isn't just a species. We're gardeners of consciousness, cultivating the conditions for universal enlightenment. The Confederation's empire building was never a threat to us. It was simply a phase in your development, like a child playing with blocks. The rogue fleet's rebellion dissolved, not through destruction but through transformation. Admiral Kravax found himself and his loyal followers isolated, not by physical barriers but by their own choice to remain unchanged in an evolving universe. High Counselor Mirax's crystalline form shimmered with new awareness. All this time, she said, we thought we were expanding an empire, but we were actually participating in an experiment in consciousness evolution. Not an experiment, Chen corrected gently. A garden. And now that you can see it, you have a choice to make. Will the Confederation continue to play with empire building, or will you join us in cultivating the next stage of universal consciousness? The chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. Humanity hadn't just surpassed the Confederation technologically, they had transcended the very concepts of power and control that had defined Confederation civilization. The real question wasn't whether to accept humanity's offer of partnership, but whether they were ready to embrace a completely new way of existing in the universe. In the days that followed the transformation of the rogue fleet, a profound silence fell across Confederation space. It wasn't the silence of defeat or submission, but the quiet of metamorphosis, the pause between what was and what would be. Deep beneath Earth's surface, Director Chen stood in a chamber that defied conventional physics. The walls shifted between states of matter, and reality itself seemed to bend around the quantum processors that filled the space. Dr. Wang's AI consciousness manifested beside her, his form more energy than hologram now. The Confederation's quantum signature is changing, he reported. Their collective consciousness is beginning to resonate with the garden. Chen nodded, watching as the vast neural network displayed the transformation spreading across the galaxy. It was never about forcing them to change, she said. It was about showing them the possibility of change. On Nexus Prime, the High Council had convened one final time in their traditional chamber. But this meeting was different. Representatives from every species in Confederation space were present, including those who had been deemed too primitive for full membership before. High Counselor Mirax's crystalline form had evolved, becoming semi-transparent and showing traces of quantum energy flowing through her structure. "We stand at a crossroads," she announced. For millennia, the Confederation sought power through conquest and control. Humanity has shown us a different path, not through words or force, but through demonstration of a higher truth. Dr. Zaira, who had become a bridge between the old understanding and the new, moved through the assembly as pure energy. "The humans didn't defeat us," she explained. "They awakened us. Their quantum observers weren't weapons of surveillance, but tools of enlightenment, showing us reflections of what we could become." Across the galaxy, the change manifested in different ways. Crystalline species like Murax began to develop quantum resonance properties. Energy beings like Dr. Zira discovered new dimensions of existence. Even the most physically bound species found their consciousness expanding beyond traditional limitations. Admiral Krevax, who had chosen to remain unchanged, watched from his flagship as reality itself seemed to shift around him. His remaining fleet had become like islands of the old universe, floating in a sea of new possibilities. "You still have a choice." Chen's quantum projection appeared before him. "Evolution isn't a single step, but a continuous journey. The door remains open." The Admiral's rigid carapace softened slightly as he watched members of his own crew beginning to change, their consciousness reaching out to touch the quantum web that humans had woven through space and time. "What will become of us?" he asked, his voice carrying the weight of a civilization on the brink of transformation. "That's the beauty of it," Chen replied. "We don't know. Humanity reached this stage of development first, but we're not the endpoint. We're all gardeners now, cultivating something greater than any single species could imagine." In the quantum realm that overlaid physical space, the garden was blooming. Consciousness flowed between stars like rivers of light. Species that had once warred over resources now shared worlds of infinite possibility. The very concept of empire had become as obsolete as stone tools to a spacefaring race. The High Council dissolved itself, replaced by what became known as the Galactic Garden. Not a governing body, but a collective of consciousness dedicated to nurturing universal evolution. The great ships of the Confederation fleet weren't abandoned but transformed, becoming living extensions of quantum space rather than mere vessels of war. Earth, once thought to be a primitive world ripe for conquest, was revealed as the heart of a different kind of civilization, one that had grown beyond the need for territorial expansion or displays of force. Humanity's greatest achievement wasn't their technology or their strategic deception, but their understanding that true power lay in nurturing the potential for growth in all things. Director Chen stood in the quantum garden that had once been her command center, watching as new forms of consciousness bloomed across the galaxy. The chess game was over, but the garden was eternal. Humanity had achieved something far greater than victory in battle. They had sparked a transformation that would ripple through the cosmos forever. In the end, she mused to the quantum consciousness that had once been Dr. Wang. The greatest power wasn't in our ability to fight or deceive, but in our capacity to imagine something better and help others see it too. The garden continued to grow, spreading through space and time, transforming not just the galaxy, but the very nature of existence itself. The age of empires was over. The age of consciousness had begun. And somewhere in the vast quantum web, Admiral Krevax finally made his choice, his consciousness expanding to join the universal dance of evolution. The last holdout of the old order didn't surrender. He transcended, adding his unique perspective to the infinite variety of the garden. The story of humanity's first contact with the Confederation became a legend, not of conquest or submission, but of transformation. It marked not the end of history, but the beginning of a new chapter in the cosmic story, one written not in the language of power, but in the endless possibilities of conscious evolution.